Hey y'all, welcome back to Babeinlibrary. It's your girl Lisa, and it's time for a very important video, and that is the mid-year book tag freakout video. Now, I say that this is important because this is the very first video that I had ever put on my channel, and today is my booktube anniversary. So it is very special to me, and I've got a good stack of books to discuss with you today. Some of my favorites, some of my most disappointing, what I'm looking forward to, all of the things that you know this tag encompasses. So the first question being, how many books have I read so far this year? So this year I have read 59 books. I'm in the middle of 2 of them, so I could say 61, but really it's 59. The next question is, what is your favorite book of the year? Now, I'm going to try to give you 2 of everything. So in true fashion, I can't just pick one. So I'm going to pick my favorite standalone, which is going to be Bookmarked by Bella J. Y'all get into this cover. This right here, that's my man, Juice. Now, his name is Juice for a number of reasons, and I'm down for the squeeze, but his real name is Elgin. He would have been my book boyfriend, but I don't want to double up because, again, this is one of my favorite books of the year. Now, I will tell you all, temper your expectations. You all know that I am a romance girly, but this is a love story and not a romance. I want to say that now before you come into my DMs or you come into the comments talk about this is not a romance. I never said it was. This is a love story, and it's such a beautiful love story. I adore this book. It gave me everything I needed. I could ask for more, but I know Bella J is not giving it to us. So for my favorite standalone of the year so far, it's Bella J's Bookmark. Now, my favorite of the year, hands down, My Roman Empire, in the best book in this series and any book possible for me, is going to be Kennedy Ryan's Can't Get Enough. Y'all, I adore this. Like I said, this is My Roman Empire. Everything about this book is special to me. From Hendrix herself, I knew when I first saw her in book 1, I would love her. And Kennedy didn't disappoint. But what I didn't see coming was Maverick. Maverick is everything that Hendrix needs and vice versa. This is for the people that want to see themselves reflected, that do not feel like they want to have children and they don't feel like their voices are heard. When people keep telling them, you don't want to grow up old and be alone. Don't you want somebody to take care of you? Don't you feel less complete without a family? Hendrix lets you know, baby, I'm complete coming into this world and leaving out. However, that does not mean I don't have love to give. I've got love to give to my nieces and nephews, my godchildren, to a man. I have love in abundance, but I am choosy with who I decide to give it to. And Maverick rose to that occasion. So I'm going to tell you, this is my favorite book of the year, and I don't see anything topping it, but the jury's still out. Now, the next question is going to be, what's my favorite sequel? Now, I'm using sequel in the traditional sense, meaning book 2 in a series. That has got to be Capone 2 by Miss Jacquel J. Baby, she stood 10 toes down when it came to doubling up on us. Like, I would tell you, Capone was cool. Like, when I first read it, I was like, oh, okay, I kind of get what the girlies are talking about. But when she put on book 2 and then gave us book 3 in the Capone series, I said, oh, baby, you said I'm going to cook with gas and put some kerosene on it. I'm going to light this mug up. And she absolutely did. Best sequel that I have read this year, and I will continue with the series. What is a new release that you have not read yet? Again, I'm going to give you 2. The first one is going to be by Daniel Allen. Plus Size Player is one that I have not read. I do own a copy of it, not a physical copy, a digital copy. I have a feeling that I'm going to love this one more than I liked Curvy Girl Summer. Now, personally for me, I wasn't the biggest fan of that, but I know Daniel Allen never lets me down. And so while it was a good book, I know that this book will be better and more to my liking. So I'm going to have to read this ASAP because the girls are chatting. They're saying that this is giving what it needs to give. And so Plus Size Player is definitely on my immediate TBR. Similarly, I have a digital copy of Love You a Little Bit by Keisha Thompson, and I am ashamed to say I haven't read this because every time she gives an arc, I'm ready to read it. I immediately go into that mode and I'm ready to consume it. However, when she released Love You a Little Bit, I wasn't in my country girl era, and I was trying to save it for a video concept, and I know I gotta let that notion go. It's time to read Love You a Little Bit. This is about a small town romance. I think one of them is a singer and they're trying to find their roots, and the other one helps them along the way. So this is going to be on my TBR as well. Please keep me accountable with these 2 books. Now, things I'm looking forward to. The next question being anticipated read for the second half of the year. Without a shadow of a doubt, it's coming out next Friday, so less than a week from today. I need to get my hands on J.L. Seeger's The Illusion of Power. This is one that I'm like, immediately yes. My Kindle TBR is actually full. I'm at 20 max capacity. Something's being read or something's being booted, because as soon as J.L. drops it on my Kindle, I'm reading it. This is a polyamorous romance that has a little bit of a scandal because one of the people in the relationship is the first lady. Sign me up. Actually, download it, drop that immediately. If she did a surprise release like Beyonce, I'd be, my top would be blown. I actually have the Secret Files. I picked them up from her when I was at the Black Romance Book Festival, but I have not picked it up because I don't want to tease myself like that. I want to pick up the Secret Files and then jump directly into the briefing. Like, I want to go directly into the situation room and figure out what the situation is. So that's high on my priority. The next being Sweet Heat by Bola Babalula. I had no idea that there was going to be a sequel. I thought the first book in the story was like perfect to me. But when I saw that she was coming out with a sequel with these characters and they were going to increase the heat, I said, give me that. So this is something I will be reading. I don't think it comes out until September. I missed my opportunity for an arc, which is okay, because y'all know me and my NetGalley score is not up to where it needs to be. So I wasn't probably going to get it anyway. But those are the 2 books that I want to read that's coming out later this year. Now, the question about what my biggest surprise is. Now, I've got 2. The first one being The Paramour by V.K. Martin. I just read this last week, and when I tell you, jaw was on the floor. Had to collect myself because the way that book ended, I will tell you before, again, I want to give y'all the disclaimer. Not a lot of people are going to like this book. This has the cheating trope, and these 2 go at it from the first page all the way to the end. They don't stop. So if that is not your jam, I understand. I resonate. Not necessarily something I like in real life, but in my books, I gobble it up. And the way in which V.K. Martin wrote it and left room for a sequel that I don't know when's coming out, but that storyline I never saw coming. Like, by the time I got to the end, I said, what did I just read? And when can I read more? That is juicy tidbits. Get into the story if you are okay with walking on the wilder side, because that one definitely will have a surprise for you at the end. Now, the next book that was a big surprise to me was by T. Lynn. I had never read from her before, but I needed to read Only If It's You. This one is a marriage of convenience, married in Vegas, boxing with a single mother type of romance. And this was a surprise to me because I haven't really heard many people talk about T. Lynn, and I had this copy on my Kindle for some reason, and I knew the Libby audiobook was available, so I was like, okay, well, let me just see what it's talking about. When I tell you I was invested, I loved everything about this story, and I was like, okay, this is definitely one that's going to go up to the top. And from there, when I read this book, I was so surprised that I decided to read more from this author. I decided to buy 3 or 4 in her backlist. So I was surprised just because I had very low expectations, or no expectations rather, so I say. I won't say it was low. I will say I had no expectations. I just wanted to check T. Lynn off of my box for Black Romance Book Festival. But when I read this, I said, okay, You give me messy family drama. You give me complex characters with a sordid history and a past. You give me my wife type energy. I'ma listen. So definitely a great book. Definitely a surprise to me. Now, let's be realistic and talk about our biggest disappointments, because I have a few, but I said I'm not going to go ham. I'm going to give you two. Now, my first biggest disappointment was going to be Grown Folks Confession by Sherelle Green. Now, I am very sad to say this because this cover eats. It had everything and more. The premise, perfection. The problem being, I didn't like how it was written where the two characters had back and forth. Like, they got together and broke up or separated 3 or 4 times. Baby, if you don't stop playing with me and just make them be together, and then when you did let them be together, they had like an affair type of situation where somebody stepped out and came back with something that couldn't be given away. Now, it's only 1 or 2 situations, and neither one of the 2 situations were going to be possible for me that I was going to like it. Why would you do this to me? And then why would you wait all the way to the end for them to be like, yeah, let's work it out? Baby, keep it. At this point, at the end of the story, I was like, they didn't need to be together. Actually, this was fun, but we're going to get off the ride. Y'all should be better as friends. And then to tell me that the situation with the person that they stepped out on, they getting a book too? Oh, I got to read that though. I got to see how that's going to work out, because this didn't work out for me. But maybe I like that other story better. This was a huge disappointment. However, I'm keeping it because it's delicious from a cover standpoint. And I might go back later on down the line and my feelings may have changed. Once I read the rest of the series, I might come back to this one and be like, I understand. It served a purpose. But right now, I don't see it. The next disappointment that I have, I'm not going to say it was a bad book. It was just boring. To me, this is the one that's probably going to get everybody to jump down my throat and be like, girl, you're wrong. Fix it. Read it again. You missed an assignment. But I'm going to stand on my belief. It was boring to me. Y'all hyped it up. Didn't like it. The Neighbor Favor. This is my truth. I'm going to leave it there. Christina Forrest, very funny. Very talented. I believe she has the potential. This just wasn't it for me. Like her as an author that I got to see in person. Like her charisma, like her personality. Don't really like her first book. That's all I got to say. It was boring. Moving on. Now, let's talk about my new favorite author for the year. I will tell you, I don't really know because I haven't read a number of people's backlists. Like, I may have read one book from them, but not enough to say that they're my new favorite author. However, I have a sneaking suspicion there is one author in particular that is going to knock my socks off and will become a all-star favorite. And that's going to be Miss Antoinette Sherrill. And I say that for a few reasons. One, because of this book. This book right here, Savage My Soul, 5 stars, amazing, recommended to anybody who wants to be in an emotional state, anybody who wants to see real love push through difficult circumstances, for anybody who enjoys single parents, for anybody who likes great writing, for anybody, period. This is a fantastic book. This lets me know Antoinette Sherrill is going to be somebody I need to watch out for. I did a taste test and I read the start of another book from hers and I said, oh, that's good too. Which I'm going to come back to. The Art of Hood Love. Savvy. Gotta replay that. Get back into that. But I then saw everyone talking about Immoral Cravings, which I purchased from her because she was like, yeah, I got one in the bag. Don't tell nobody. I'm going to let you cop it off of me. And I said, baby, your secret and my secret. We're sharing secrets. At this point, there's nothing you can do about it because I have the book, the event is gone. But I'm going to be reading so much from her at this point because I have a feeling she's going to be my favorite. So I will be getting into her catalog. Now, the next question is, who is my new fictional crush? Now, to be honest, like I said, I didn't want to repeat, But it's going to be Maverick Bell and Juice from Bookmark, the top 2 favorite books that I've had. However, I said I wasn't going to repeat. So I'm going to let y'all know I finally got on the Dr. Ezekiel train bandwagon by Miss Robbie Renee from Somebody's Wife and Somebody's Forever. I understand now. I understand why Dr. Ezekiel Green is what all y'all rave about. And I feel like he's in St. Louis because the book is set in St. Louis adjacent area, and I'm looking high and low with a flashlight for the man. Like, this man and me, we go together real bad. And I understand. Now, the other fictional boyfriend or fictional crush that I have is going to be Cesar from Shadow Obsession. Now, hear me out. He is unhinged, quite possibly. Yes, he does stalk her, but he also, and breaks her into her house. But when he does that, he washes her clothes. He cooks dinner. Baby, break in. Do what you gotta do. I don't mind. Yes, he came in when I was on a date and he did an arm stick up and made me leave with him. That ain't no problem. This man didn't protect me in the first place. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Cesar. Sometimes I like a little bit of a hinge man, and that's okay, because he gonna do it for me. It's about balance. This man here, wholesome as they come, will drop everything and run to you. Cesar, he said you ain't gotta run, because I'm already waiting outside. I'm outside, waiting on you to realize I'm gonna give you these Cokie calls, and you gonna hear these 3 whistles. No, that's me. Balance, y'all. New favorite character. Now, my new favorite character, at this point, I can't stop talking about her. I am obsessed. She is me, I am her. Actually, we can be best friends as well. Lucia Moretti. Favorite character. If you read Simple Vows, you will know why. I love me a badass heroine. I love someone that says, yeah, you can defend me, but I can defend me too. I also can defend you. Actually, what you want to know, if somebody is messing with you, I'm going to give you their head on a platter. Literally the vibes that she comes with every single time. She says, yes, women are supposed to be married in white. I'm going to show up in the baddest red dress you ever seen. Blood is what I'm out for. And baby, she does it so well. Lucia Moretti, top down, favorite character of the year because I stand. Let me just say that. Now let's talk about the books that made me happy. I've got 2 books in particular, very different vibes. Very different vibes, let me say that. I am a Friends to Lovers girl, and the book that made me the happiest, I read and I was just smiling from ear to ear. That's going to be Maybe I Love You by Brianna Michelle. I was not expecting this. This is the second in a series, and I jumped directly into this one because the vibes were here. This is a sports romance where the male main character is a professional golfer. He has been in love with his best friend his entire life, and she has never looked twice at him. Why? Because she's always been attracted to women. She is actually getting ready to be married to somebody that should be her wife. However, that lady leaves her at the altar, and who is there to step up? Donovan. He said, baby, I'm going to take you away from all of this. And because I don't think that I don't want you to think that you're not loved, and I don't want you to harm yourself, I'm going to make you stay with me, and we are going to fall in love because it's my time. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Had the great time. I smiled from ear to ear. I was just kikiing, laughing, kicking my feet. Stomach had butterflies. This made me exceptionally happy. Now, also a book that made me happy, When He's Not There by Z Renee. This is Lick Back Season times 20. This made me happy just because this man right here, Truth, he didn't care. He didn't care that the woman that he was falling for was already in a relationship. He didn't care that, the man actually lived with her. He did not care. He said, you're going to be mine. I'm going to tell you what you like. You don't know, but you actually like scotch now. And I'm going to pour it for you. This man right here made me happy because the man she was with was trash. And I loved seeing her come into her own womanhood and realize who not in your corner and how to snuff them out. She didn't see it, but he saw it. And I loved every minute. I was so happy as I read through this. I said, oh, it's a book 2 coming too? I'm gonna buy that, and I haven't, and I'm gonna get back to it because I haven't read it yet. But I was so happy with this. I actually didn't need the book 2, but I'm happy that there is a Here Forever or Happy Forever, something like that. I'm happy now. I'm happy now, but I will be happier when I read their sequel. So those 2 books made me exceptionally happy for no reason. Now, on the opposite perspective, let's talk about the books that made me cry. Again, I don't want to keep bringing this up, but this is my everything. This book made me cry. I didn't even make it out of the prologue. Can't get enough. Kennedy Ryan said, baby, I will collect every single tear that you have in your body. Don't think that you couldn't love this more. I'm going to give you happy tears. I'm going to give you sad tears. I'm going to give you tears of joy. I'm going to give you every single tears, but they will be mine. So this one definitely had me boo-hooing. I was boo-hooing at a point that was actually so abundantly special, that was absolute love and joy, but I was sitting up there sobbing, boo-hooing, like, I just want this in my life. That's the type of crying because you're sad, crying because you're happy, crying just because you're reading this book, crying because you feel seen. I also cried at Isaac's Song by Daniel Black. Surprisingly, I cried when I read Daniel Black's Don't Cry For Me, and I cried at the same spot when I read Isaac's Songs. They're companion novels. The first one is about the father. The second one is about the son. I already knew what was going to happen, and yet still, I cried anyway. I'm a Cancer. That's in my nature. Nextly, I've got 3 more categories for you, so just hold on tight. I'm going to talk about the prettiest books that I own. Now, I generally am a people cover person, but I do like a good illustrated cover from time to time. And this special edition of Dark Sea Omega, whew, beautiful. I probably shouldn't be showing this on YouTube, but hey, I'm not monetized, so it doesn't matter to me. This cover, all the bits are covered. Love it. Love it down. It's real bad. That's my faded romance. The next beautiful cover is a people person cover. It's going to be Prince by Bree Sade. Look at it. Look at it. But wait, there's more. This man right here, fine. Beautiful cover. Hands down. When I saw it on the table, I had only came for 1 book. I saw this and I said, put it in the bag. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Fine. Tasty. Love it. Best adaptation. Now, I've never read this book, but I'm going to say Forever, which is on Netflix. Y'all, this is the creme de la creme. This is, the finding yourself, finding your first love, knowing that you and your first love won't last forever, but it feels like forever at the time. Y'all, this adaptation, I'm going to rewatch again and again and again. I need more of this on Netflix. And after 6 days, it had already been renewed for a 2nd season. That's to tell you how good it is. The last and final category is what books must I read before the end of the year? I also want you to keep me accountable here. And I really need to say this one a little bit louder because y'all not hearing me. I need your accountability because I need to read Madame by Sarah Kate. The series is complete. She is moving on to writing the follow-up stories by the children in these series. Y'all, I haven't read this last book. You can't give me Eden's Child because I know this is a single mother trope. You can't give me Eden's Child and not have read Eden's book, because at this point, I feel like that's probably going to be the first story we get. We're probably going to get Eden's daughter or son. I don't know which one she has at this point. I think it's a daughter. We're probably going to get her book before I've even read this, and that would be a tragedy. So I need to close out this series. It's been on my shelves for way too long. I need to read this. The last and final book, because I'm tired of making TBRs and not having read it. I'm very embarrassed to say I've only read 1 Christina C. Jones book, so it is time for me to have that up to 2, and I need to read Equivalent Exchange. Now, fortunately for me, these are both on my 25 for 25, so I already had intentions to knock these both down this year, but it's the end of June and I haven't read either one of them. So please hold me accountable. Make sure that I read these. Tell me what books you need to prioritize before the year and or your favorite read. If you don't want to do any of that, leave me a crown emoji for Prince, because the man. Yeah, leave me a crown emoji. Or, like I said, tell me what your favorite book is or what you need to read by the end of the year. Thank you so very much for watching my video, subscribing, commenting. Again, it is my BookTube anniversary. Thank you all so much for being here. I'll talk to you later. Bye.